morning, everyone. It's nice to see this room full today. This is my second time in Mumbai since the beginning of this year. And my big thanks to the organizers, to IREX, for this invitation. 10 minutes for a speech is not too much time, so I'll try to move quickly through the slides. Just a couple of words about Beyond. Our team members have been present on the investment migration market for over 20 years. We have a global presence on the market with our offices in Dubai, Moscow, London, Hong Kong, Shanghai, and we've recently opened an office in Istanbul. Our main office is based in London, and we rely on a vast number of delivery offices for various CBI programs. So together, we form a global team of specialists. We offer over 20 residence and citizenship programs and citizenship solutions to our clients. Residency programs will lead to obtaining a settled status in the country of choice, but not necessarily to a passport in the end. Citizenship programs will lead to obtaining a second nationality, and all of them are being effectively a shortcut path to obtaining a second passport by making an investment or purchasing a property or making an economic contribution, depending on the country, whatever it requires. Here's the list of those countries offering residency or citizenship for global investors. 16 for residency and 10 for citizenship. Some are old and well-known, such as Antigua and Barbuda, Dominica, St. Kitts, Malta, Cyprus. Some are new, like Moldova, Montenegro, or Turkey. They've just recently appeared. We know for a fact that governments around the world are preparing more such programs. So in a year or two, we'll definitely see more of them coming. Residence by investment programs. Depending on the final result, we divide them onto those which lead to citizenship and those which don't. On the top of those which lead to a settlement and getting a passport, we placed United Kingdom, which is our favorite program. Our main office is based in London, and I lived in London for over 6 years, and I love that country very much. And our London team has been present and helping private clients to get UK visas and UK passport for over 15 years. And our approval rate for UK settlement category visas and British passport has been 100% so far. UK immigration visas lead to settlement in 2 to 5 years, depending on the visa category, and to citizenship in 5 to 6 years, depending, again, on the visa of your choice. Also must say that despite the myth that UK is very hard to get into, I must say that in fact it's much easier than many people think, and if you get the things done properly. So I'll get to this a little bit later. Speaking of citizenship solutions, there are not so many countries in the world that provide immediate naturalization in exchange for investment or economic contribution, only 10 in total. For those countries that are listed there, we can speak for hours. But for the purpose of this particular speech, I will point out Turkey, although it may seem not very obvious. But Turkey offers its own citizenship by investment program, which is now popular among our clients because due to the so-called Ankara Agreement, with a Turkish passport, they can apply for the Turkish business person's visa in the UK and enter and work in the UK by establishing a business of their own with very simple requirements that I'll explain just a bit later. Now we move to the United Kingdom, which is, as I said, our favorite country. There are so many reasons why almost everyone likes England: fashion, sports, football, cricket, rugby, fashion, I said music, Harrods, not the least, except for British cuisine. No one's heard of it so far, but, well, they can't be perfect in everything. What Britain does offer is excellent lifestyle, great education. Everyone speaks English there, which is also a plus for our clients. Excellent vertical mobility, great health care, life longevity, an opportunity to marry a prince if anyone's interested, to marry a prince and to turn him into a commoner, which is apparently so much fun. And of course, this is a country where certain traditions haven't changed in 1,000-something years. It's stability. On a more serious note, immigration to the UK now can be done through three main existing visa routes, which lead to settlement. The most well-known is a UK Tier 1 investor, which requires £2 million investment into bonds as shares of active and trading companies in the United Kingdom. The investment to be kept for 5 years. Applicants will get permanent residence, which is called indefinite leave to remain, the ILR, and then after 6 years they can apply for British passports. Apart from the 2 million investment, the requirements are minimal. No English language test, no prior business experience. The dependent family members can be included into the application. Spouse and children up to the age of 18 can apply together. The whole family can move to the UK and start working, studying, doing everything, doing nothing, living off capital, starting from day one without practically any restrictions. A new immigration category, the so-called UK Innovator Visa, was introduced in March last year, and it replaced an old, well-known Tier 1 UK entrepreneur route. For becoming an innovator, you have to demonstrate a minimum £50,000 ready for investment into your own startup company. And the most important is that your business idea has to be innovative, viable, scalable on the international markets. For the first visa application, you have to demonstrate funds ready for investment, prove your self-sufficiency, have endorsement letter ready, and pass the English language test at the level B2. Still, almost in a year's time, since March last year, according to the Home Office statistics, only 14 innovative visa applications have been submitted, and only 12 approvals have been granted so far. Well, clearly this is a very, very little number as opposed to hundreds and hundreds of entrepreneur visas issued in the past. Now let's look at the third category, the UK representative of overseas business visa, and this is a very interesting one. Why? Because there is a common idea in the people's minds that one has to have a lot of money to move to the UK and start living there. Well, it is actually not true, and I can bet with anyone, with you in the audience, that we as Beyond, we can move you into the UK just in 3 months without any money, except for our lovely professional fees, of course. This representative of overseas business visa allows anyone who is a minority shareholder in an overseas company and a manager to start a branch of this company in the UK, bringing their family, and to get indefinite leave to remain in 5 years and passport in 6. The main applicant doesn't need to show profitability of the branch in the UK. In fact, all the responsibility stays on the mother company, which is overseas. And it has to pay salary to the representative in the UK for 5 consecutive years every month. The main applicant cannot take gained employment. They have to work only for that branch. However, their family members are free to work and study. So in fact, if in one family we have someone who wants to work in the UK, we can make their spouse a representative so that they can take up gained employment. There is some flexibility. There is no minimum investment. As I said, English language requirement is minimal, only level A1, and visa processing time is fairly quick, from 4 to 6 weeks. Apart from obvious ways, there is a non-trivial one, which is to get a Turkish passport first. Due to the existence of an agreement between Turkey and the European Union, the so-called Ankara Agreement, Turkish nationals may apply for a Turkish business person visa in the UK. No minimal investment is required. No English language test, just a sensible business plan will suffice. All they need to show is a genuine intention to set up a business in the UK and show sufficient funds to support themselves and their family while they're living in the UK. There are no limitations as to the nature of the business. It can be pretty much anything. You can be a developer or a restaurant owner. There's no prohibition on property-related businesses, so anything you do, you can just get a Turkish passport, apply for this visa, move to the UK, and start earning millions. You can bring your family, a spouse or unmarried partner, and children up to the age of 21. The first Turkish business person visa will be issued for 12 months. Then further extension for 3 years can be granted as long as the business is ongoing and you want to continue living in the UK and operating your business in the UK. So further 3-year extensions will be granted, and they will lead to indefinite leave to remain once you have spent 5 years in the UK. And again, as with all the visas, you can apply for a British passport after 6 years. Anticipating some of the coming questions, I should say that the Turkish business persons actually benefit from the Ankara Agreement, which is related to the UK membership in the EU, which means that at some point in the future, this particular route will be closed to the new applicants. There may be a transitional period, probably until the 31st of December 2020 or some other date, but all it matters at present, now the Turkish nationals can apply and this route is still open. And we expect that people who are already in the UK or will submit their applications before the end of this year will be granted entry, will be granted settlement after 5 years, and if their wish is such, they can get British passports. So a very brief overview of the Turkish citizenship program, just to give you a better picture. It is based on a real estate purchase. The minimal price is 250,000 for a property. It has to be held for 3 years, then it can be sold. Developers are offering a nice return, 4 to 8% per year, depending on the property and on its location. There is no minimal residency requirements, meaning that the applicants don't have to come and live in Turkey. There is no minimal number of days to be spent. They don't even have to visit, it's all up to them. With the Turkish passport, as I said, they can apply for the UK Turkish business person's visa, and with Turkey, you actually get 3-in-1, a nice second passport, second nationality, easy access to the UK, and with the Turkish passport, you can apply for the E2 investor visa in the United States. So it's a nice combination of opportunities. The take-home message for today is that if it comes to the UK, there are 4 available options. It's not so difficult to access. Investment in the UK is not at all necessary. The whole family can relocate. Also, unmarried couples will be accepted because the UK acknowledges civil partnerships. The only thing they need to prove is not less than 2 years of prior joint cohabitation. And as I mentioned already several times, settlement is granted after 5 years, British naturalization in 6. Just a quick mentioning of the real successful cases related to UK immigration that we come across in our work. Our client from Bangladesh, also a British national living in the UK, had 2 wives. His second wife lived in Bangladesh. Despite the UK being a very open-minded society, they still don't recognize the second wife. And they didn't grant her the spouse visa. What we had to do? He still wanted to bring his second wife into the UK. So we made her a second passport. She didn't need any other visa. She came to the UK, stayed there. In fact, the European Union nationals, if they come and settle, if they come in the UK and register for the EU settlement scheme, until 30th of June next year, they will be granted all the rights. They will be granted permanent residence after 5 years. So this is still possible. Our Chinese clients who cannot move capital across the borders and have difficulties with passing an English language test are now very interested with the Turkish passport and applying for Turkish business person's visa, which becomes a solution because there's no investment or language knowledge requirement. Well, this is just a funny story about another client of ours who wanted to get an investor visa, and once he paid a retainer fee to us, and we started working on his documents, it turned out, well, we knew that his wife was expecting a child, but it turned out that she's expecting 4. So for the UK visa, it didn't matter. The cost of the application didn't increase, and we also accommodated our fees, so it didn't cost him any more. This one is just a reminder that we can bring unmarried couples into the UK. They have only to prove not less than 2 years of joint cohabitation before coming and settling in the UK. This one is about a Chinese client who had 7 consecutive refusals from the UK Home Office. However, we managed to obtain an approval for her. We applied for the 8th time, and she was approved for the investor visa. And the last story is a Middle Eastern royal family had to leave their own country during political turmoil, and they were not welcomed back. So they stayed in the UK on the tourist visa, and they wanted to apply for the investor visa. However, under the UK immigration rules, it is prohibited to switch in-country from the tourist visa to any other visa category. However, we managed to persuade the UK Home Office, and they were granted investor status. There were 8 investors in one family, so they put £8 million into the British economy. So this story did have a happy end. Thank you very much. This is the end of my presentation. Thanks for your attention. And if you have any questions, our table is in the next room. We'll be happy to see you. Thank you.